Have you ever bought something you didn't really need just because a salesperson was particularly charming and persuasive? Do you often make decisions based on what others think is popular? Have you ever experienced jealousy towards a friend? Do you struggle to make choices when faced with too many options? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you're not alone. Many individuals fall into the trap of flawed thinking. In this summary of The Art of Thinking Clearly, you will discover why clear thinking can be difficult to achieve and how to avoid these mental pitfalls. You will delve into cognitive biases and mental shortcuts, examining both their benefits and drawbacks. This summary is designed to help you think more logically and make better decisions. Stay with us until the end of this audiobook summary to uncover the secrets of clear thinking. By doing so, you will acquire tools to improve your decision-making skills and lead a more rational life. Also, be sure to check out other summaries on our channel, where we provide free insights into a wide range of books. Let's begin and learn how to think more clearly. The Black Swan. For many years, people assumed that all swans were white because no one had ever seen a different color. This belief was widely accepted until 1697, when explorer Willem de Vlaming found black swans in Australia. Since that discovery, the term black swan has come to symbolize rare, unpredictable, and remarkable events. Statistician Nassim Nicholas Taleb explores this concept in his book, The Black Swan. Let's consider an example. Each day, the Dow Jones Index experiences minor fluctuations, moving slightly up or down. Typically, investors are not impacted by these small changes in the stock market. However, on October 19, 1987, the market faced a sudden drop of 22%, which had a worldwide effect and is still regarded as a major historical event. In a similar way, a black swan event can influence your job, business, life, and even your country. A black swan can be either beneficial or harmful. For example, landing a significant career opportunity or finding a gold mine are positive black swan events. On the other hand, a large meteorite striking Earth would be a negative black swan event. There are various categories of knowledge: known facts, known unknowns, and unknown unknowns. Known facts are clear and straightforward, like basic information. Known unknowns refer to questions we have, such as the size of the universe or whether the internet is making us smarter or dumber. We might find answers to these questions in the future. However, unknown unknowns are different. For instance, 200 years ago, no one could have foreseen the rise of social media in our lives. So why is it important to understand black swans? They have gained significance in recent years. While we plan for the future, we cannot fully prepare for black swan events. Additionally, our brains have evolved to assist us in hunting and gathering. Our ancestors in the Stone Age did not encounter extraordinary situations. They simply pursued deer, which varied in speed and size. Predicting and learning from their experiences was relatively straightforward. In today's fast-paced world, our minds struggle to keep pace with rapid technological advancements. Many individuals have encountered unexpected opportunities known as black swan events, leading them to become millionaires. Notable examples include J.K. Rowling, Larry Page, and Usain Bolt, who all achieved remarkable success and wealth through significant breakthroughs. This phenomenon has become more common in recent years. So how can we leverage our understanding of black swans? By placing ourselves in situations that could lead to positive black swan events. Successful entrepreneurs, artists, and investors often find more opportunities because their work is widely appreciated. In contrast, employees, journalists, or dentists who trade their time for money may have fewer chances for a major breakthrough. To safeguard against negative black swans, it's wise to avoid debt, save money, and invest carefully. Regardless of whether you experience a big break, saving is essential. Consider the concept of social proof. Imagine you're heading to a concert and notice a crowd gazing up at the sky. Naturally, you become curious and look up too. This is an example of social proof. During the concert, a solo performer displays exceptional talent, prompting one audience member to start clapping, which quickly spreads to everyone, including you. After the concert, when you go to retrieve your coat, you see some attendees tipping the staff, even though a service charge was included in the ticket price. Influenced by social proof, you also decide to tip. Social proof can also be referred to as herd mentality. It happens when individuals follow the actions of others, believing that those actions are correct. When many people engage in a behavior or hold a belief, it is often seen as the right choice. People tend to imitate others without questioning. Social proof influences trends in fashion, food, and more. However, it can also lead to negative outcomes, such as panic during stock market crashes or mass suicides for religious reasons. In the 1950s, psychologist Solomon Asch conducted a straightforward experiment to show how peer pressure can cloud judgment. A participant received a paper with 4 lines drawn on it and was asked to identify which line matched the height of a reference line. Line A was shorter, line B was longer, and line C was the same height. When the participant was alone, they consistently chose the correct line. However, when 5 actors were added to the group, who were instructed to incorrectly select line A, the participant became confused and chose the wrong answer 33% of the time, swayed by the actor's choices. Why does social proof affect us so deeply? It was a beneficial survival tactic for our ancestors. Picture this. 50,000 years ago, while hunting on the Serengeti, if everyone suddenly started running and hiding, it would be wise to follow suit. What would you do in a situation where you might encounter a lion or another dangerous animal? You would likely follow the group without hesitation. In ancient times, those who acted differently often didn't survive. You are a descendant of Homo sapiens, who learned to imitate others to stay alive, which is why social proof is so deeply rooted in us. We still rely on it, even when it may not be beneficial. Businesses, governments, and leaders often take advantage of our tendency to seek social proof. For instance, comedy shows use recorded laughter during jokes to prompt viewers to laugh along. A notable example of social proof occurred in 1943 when Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propaganda minister, delivered a speech. At that time, Germany was losing the war, and the Nazis were rallying the public to fight. Goebbels asked the crowd if they wanted a total war, one more intense than anything ever witnessed. The audience erupted in agreement, but if asked individually, few would have supported such a radical idea. This highlights the importance of being cautious about following the crowd. It's essential to think independently and make choices based on your own knowledge and instincts. Consider the sunk cost fallacy. One evening, writer Ralph Dabelli and his wife were watching a dull movie. Ralph suggested leaving, but his wife insisted they stay to avoid wasting the $30 spent on tickets. Ralph pointed out that the money was already spent, so it shouldn't affect their decision to leave. His wife looked at him as if he were out of his mind. Ultimately, she emerged victorious, and Ralph had to endure the rest of the movie. The following morning, Ralph attended a marketing meeting where the team discussed an advertising campaign they had launched 4 months prior, which had not produced any results. Ralph was among those advocating for the campaign's termination, but the advertising manager argued that too much money had already been invested to give up. This situation illustrates the sunk cost fallacy. Ralph had a friend who had been stuck in a toxic relationship for years. The girl repeatedly cheated, apologized, and promised to change. His friend confided in Ralph that he felt he had invested so much in the relationship that leaving felt wrong and difficult. The sunk cost fallacy occurs when we pour significant time, energy, money, or love into something, making it hard to let go even after suffering losses. The more we invest, the stronger our urge to continue. Investors often fall into this trap when buying stocks, focusing solely on the current price, which is a mistake. They should evaluate both the current and potential future prices of the stock. Holding on to stocks just because of the initial investment can lead to greater losses. Instead, they should sell underperforming stocks and invest in better options to avoid losses and capitalize on new opportunities. The sunk cost fallacy is tied to our need for stability and our desire to be seen as reliable, making it hard to acknowledge past decisions or admit mistakes. We often act as if everything is okay. Take the Concorde, for instance. It was a supersonic aircraft project initiated by the UK and French governments. Both nations recognized that the project might not succeed, yet they continued pouring money into it to avoid admitting their mistake. Ending the Concorde project would have meant acknowledging failure. Similarly, during the Vietnam War, the U.S. persisted in fighting even when it became evident that they were losing. They had invested so much in the conflict that accepting defeat was too difficult. Now consider your own situation. Have you invested significant time, energy, money, or focus into something that isn't yielding results? Instead of fixating on what you've already put in, think about whether you can let it go. Holding on may only lead to further losses and missed chances for better opportunities. Regarding reciprocity, have you ever been approached at an airport or train station by members of a religious group offering you flowers or other items as a gift? You might want to decline and walk away, but often you find yourself accepting their item. Later, you may encounter another member asking for a donation. This phenomenon is known as reciprocity, which refers to mutual exchange. It plays a crucial role in the success of many marketing strategies. People generally dislike feeling indebted and are inclined to return favors, which is why some individuals or groups give away items for free, hoping you will reciprocate in some way. Charity organizations and nonprofits frequently use the principle of reciprocity. For instance, an environmental group might send out attractive postcards along with a letter explaining that the postcard is a gift, and you can keep it even if you choose not to donate. Even if you recognize this as a tactic, you may still hesitate to discard the postcard. Reciprocity can be seen as a subtle form of pressure or mild manipulation. For example, a salesperson might invite you to a free event, assuring you that there's no obligation to buy anything. However, after hearing this, you might feel compelled to make a purchase, as the salesperson creates a sense of indebtedness, making you feel that buying their product is a way to repay them. The concept of reciprocity has existed since ancient times, where it was essential for survival. In a time when food was not guaranteed daily, if you successfully hunted a large deer, you would share part of it with your companions. In return, they would share their catch with you in the future. Beyond survival, reciprocity also serves as a risk management strategy, fostering cooperation among unrelated individuals. It is crucial for business, economic growth, and the functioning of a global economy. While reciprocity has its positive aspects, such as promoting cooperation, it can also lead to manipulation and a desire for revenge. This duality can create conflict, as opposing parties may continue to clash until one side chooses to relent. Now that you understand reciprocity, remember that when someone offers you something for free, they likely expect something in return. Consider this scenario. Which situation would upset you the most? A. Your friend receives a salary raise while yours remains the same. B. Both you and your friend keep the same salary. C. Both you and your friend experience a 10% salary cut. If you chose situation A, don't worry. You're feeling envy, a common human emotion. There's an old tale about a farmer who discovers a magical lamp. When he rubs it, a genie appears and offers him one wish. After some thought, the farmer wishes for his friend's cow to die because he doesn't have one. It sounds odd, but you might have felt similarly at times. For instance, if a coworker receives a significant bonus while you only get a small gift card, you might feel envious. This could lead you to avoid that coworker, refuse to assist them, or disagree with their ideas. You might even wish for something unfortunate to happen to them. Envy is a pointless emotion. Unlike anger or sadness, it's not productive. Feeling envious won't bring you anything positive. You can envy someone's wealth, status, beauty, talent, or success, but it will only lead to unhappiness and wasted time. While envy and jealousy are often confused, they are different. Envy stems from wanting what someone else has, while jealousy arises from the fear of losing something you already possess. Envy is a feeling that arises between two individuals, while jealousy involves three. For instance, Josh feels jealous of Sam because the attractive girl next door pays more attention to Sam. We often feel envy towards those who are similar to us in age, career, and social status. We don't typically envy someone who began their entrepreneurial journey long before us, nor do we envy animals or plants. We might not feel envious of millionaires in other countries, but we do envy the millionaire who lives in our city. We tend to envy successful individuals who share a similar background. For example, if you are a CEO, you might envy another wealthy CEO. And if you are a supermodel, you may envy a more famous one. As Aristotle noted, a potter envies another potter. This leads to a common mistake. Imagine your startup becomes successful, and you move from a busy neighborhood in New York to the Upper East Side. Initially, you enjoy your wealth and status, and your friends admire your new home and accomplishments. However, you soon notice that many people in the Upper East Side have nicer apartments than yours. Among your new friends, you find yourself the least wealthy. Suddenly, things you never cared about, like luxury goods and club memberships, start to bother you. So how can you manage envy? First, stop comparing yourself to others. Second, identify your unique strengths, no matter how small they may seem. What matters is that you excel in that area. Envy, like all emotions, has roots in our evolutionary past. Imagine if your neighbor in the next cave took a larger share of a hunt and left you with less. You would feel envious and strive to hunt a bigger animal next time to secure a larger portion. Early humans who lacked motivation or didn't care about improving eventually disappeared. We are the descendants of envious Homo sapiens, but in today's world, envy is no longer essential for survival. If a coworker buys a Porsche, it doesn't mean they have taken something from you. Instead of envying others, focus on the person you aspire to be and work towards that goal. Ralph Dole once studied his local grocery store and found 134 types of wine, 48 varieties of yogurt, 64 cleaning products, and around 30,000 items for sale. This illustrates that we now have countless options, including numerous careers, various mental health issues, and endless vacation destinations. In the past, people had far fewer choices. When Ralph was young, there were only 3 types of yogurt, 2 TV channels, 2 kinds of cheese, and a single telephone service from Swiss Post, which was solely for making calls, and people were content with that. Today, if you visit a phone store, you'll see a vast array of brands, models, and services. While having more options is often seen as a sign of progress, it can also lead to a decline in our quality of life, a phenomenon known as the paradox of choice. Psychologist Barry Schwartz discusses this in his book. He explains that an overload of choices can overwhelm us. For instance, a supermarket once ran an experiment where customers could sample 24 types of jelly for free. Although many people tasted the jelly, few made a purchase. The next day, the store offered only 6 flavors, and surprisingly, more customers bought jelly. On the first day, people struggled to pick from 24 different types of jelly, resulting in no purchases. The supermarket owner tried a similar approach with other products and observed the same outcome. Fewer options led to more sales. One reason for the paradox of choice is that too many options can result in poor decision-making. For instance, when college students are asked about the qualities they seek in a life partner, they often mention traits like kindness, intelligence, and humor. However, when dating, they may not prioritize these qualities. In the past, a young man in a village could choose from about 20 girls he knew well, making decisions based on shared positive traits. Today, with online dating offering millions of choices, it becomes challenging to select just one, leading many to focus primarily on physical appearance. Another issue with having too many options is that it can cause dissatisfaction. For example, if you're shopping for new shoes and face 200 different styles, how can you be sure you're making the best choice? The truth is you can't. The more choices available, the more confused and unhappy you may feel. So what can you do about this? Before shopping or browsing online, take time to think about what you truly want. Create a list of your preferences and stick to it. Also, recognize that you won't always make the perfect choice. Learn to find happiness and contentment with your decisions. This advice also applies to finding a life partner. Perfection is unattainable, so embrace and appreciate the person you choose, flaws and all. In 1981, Max Planck received the Nobel Prize in Physics and began a tour across Germany, where he consistently delivered lectures on quantum mechanics. His driver, who accompanied him on this journey, quickly memorized the entire lecture. One day, the driver had a clever idea and suggested to Planck that he should give the lecture in Munich, while Planck sat in the front row wearing his driver's cap. Planck found the suggestion entertaining and agreed. That evening in Munich, the driver successfully delivered the lecture without anyone realizing the switch. Later, a physics professor from the audience posed a question to which the driver responded, "I never expected someone from a modern city like Munich to ask such a simple question. My driver will answer that." At that moment, Max Planck, disguised as the driver, provided the answer. Planck explained that knowledge comes in two types. The first is genuine knowledge, which is acquired through extensive study and dedication. The second is what he called chauffeur knowledge, where individuals only grasp a topic superficially to impress others. Those with chauffeur knowledge may appear confident and well-presented, but their understanding is often shallow, relying on memorized scripts. Unfortunately, we are frequently misled by this type of knowledge, as seen with news anchors and some journalists who seem knowledgeable but are simply reading from prepared scripts while facilitating discussions on various subjects. Some journalists may not have a complete understanding of their subjects, while others have gained real insight through years of dedicated research. These knowledgeable journalists work hard to grasp the complexities of a topic and the experiences of the people involved. However, many still rely on what is known as chauffeur knowledge, writing articles based on quick Google searches and hearsay. As a result, their reports can often be biased, shallow, and sarcastic due to a lack of true understanding. To avoid falling into the trap of chauffeur knowledge, it's important to be discerning. A true expert recognizes the limits of their knowledge and is willing to admit when they don't have an answer. In contrast, charlatans tend to avoid admitting their ignorance, often evading questions or using complicated language to mask their lack of understanding. For example, Ralph Dobelli's friend Kevin once purchased 2 expensive bottles of wine, even though he rarely drank wine. The salesman was friendly and not pushy, which made Kevin feel good and led him to make the purchase. On the other hand, Joe Girard, one of the most successful car salesmen, shared a valuable tip. The best sales technique is to make customers feel liked and cared for. He would send monthly cards to his customers that simply said, "I like you." This principle, known as the liking bias, suggests that the more we like someone, the more inclined we are to buy from them or assist them. Research indicates that we are generally drawn to individuals who A, are physically attractive, B, share similar backgrounds, personalities, or interests with us, and C, make us feel appreciated or valued. The advertising industry capitalizes on the first two factors, often showcasing attractive individuals in their campaigns. Those who do not fit conventional standards of beauty are seldom featured in advertisements, billboards, or magazines, and are frequently depicted as unapproachable or unpleasant. In addition to featuring attractive people, advertisements often include individuals who seem relatable, suggesting they come from similar backgrounds as the target audience. For instance, detergent commercials typically showcase housewives as they represent the primary consumers of the product. Another strategy used in advertising is mirroring, where the salesperson imitates the customer's words, gestures, and expressions. For example, if a customer speaks slowly and scratches their head, the salesperson will do the same. This approach fosters a sense of connection, making the customer more inclined to like the salesperson and purchase the product. Advertisements also employ flattery to attract customers, using phrases like, "Because you're worth it," "You don't look that old, man," and "That color suits you well." Such compliments create a sense of being liked, fulfilling the third criterion mentioned earlier. Multi-level marketing leverages the liking bias effectively. Take Tupperware, for example, a $2 billion company. Their high-quality plastic containers are available at 75% lower prices in local supermarkets. Yet Tupperware's sales remain strong because their sales agents frequently host home parties. This strategy aligns with the second and third criteria of similarity in fostering a friendship with customers. Non-governmental organizations often leverage the liking bias to boost donations by featuring images of women and children in their campaigns. It's uncommon to see images of tough or injured soldiers on billboards, even though they also require our support. Environmentalists similarly select which animals to showcase in their advertisements. For instance, the World Wildlife Fund, WWF, avoids displaying insects, spiders, or bacteria in their materials, despite their importance to the ecosystem. Instead, they highlight adorable animals like pandas, polar bears, and koalas. We tend to favor creatures that exhibit human-like traits. Many people adore dogs, but few have affection for insects. When the bond skipper fly went extinct, it went largely unnoticed, while the potential extinction of emperor penguins raises significant concern. Ralph Dobelli had a friend named David, who was an oil pump dealer. David once secured a $10 million deal for a pipeline overseas. Ralph jokingly suggested that David must have used bribes to close the deal, but that wasn't true. During a meeting, David and his client discovered a shared passion for sailing, which transformed their business discussion into a friendly conversation about their mutual interest. This connection helped David gain the client's favor, ultimately leading to the successful deal. For sales agents, it's beneficial to compliment customers and maintain a positive outlook about them. Customers, on the other hand, should concentrate on whether the product meets their needs and pay less attention to the salesperson. You first learned about the black swan concept, which refers to rare and unpredictable events. By saving money, avoiding debt, and being a careful investor, you can protect yourself from negative black swan occurrences. Next, you discovered social proof, where individuals tend to mimic the actions of the majority. To avoid this pitfall, take time to think independently before making decisions. Then you learned about the sunk cost fallacy, which is the error of continuing to invest in something simply because you've already put in a lot, even if it's no longer advantageous. It's important to focus on potential future losses instead of past investments. You also explored reciprocity, the act of giving and receiving. While it has its advantages, be wary of those who offer free gifts or favors, as they may expect something in return. Additionally, you came to understand envy, a common yet unwise emotion. Avoid comparing yourself to others. Instead, concentrate on enhancing your own skills. You learned about the paradox of choice, which states that having too many options can make decision-making more difficult and stressful. The key is to carefully consider what you truly want and be content with your choice. Finally, you discovered the concept of chauffeur knowledge, where some people pretend to be experts. Don't be fooled by them. True experts acknowledge when they don't know something, while imposters do not. You have now discovered the concept of liking bias, which is influenced by three main factors: physical attractiveness, similarity to ourselves, and the feeling of being liked by others. Sales agents, politicians, and advertisers often leverage these factors, so it's important to focus on a product's performance rather than the person promoting it. Cognitive errors can lead to unclear thinking, and it's surprising how we sometimes act irrationally in predictable ways. Psychologists have studied these patterns for years, and now that you recognize many cognitive errors, you can work to avoid them. While we can't completely eliminate these errors since they are part of our survival instincts, being aware of their effects can help us make more rational choices in our personal lives, careers, and organizations. This awareness can protect us from negative thoughts and poor decisions. You have explored the intriguing insights from Ralph Dobelli's The Art of Thinking Clearly. You've learned about unpredictable black swan events, the power of social proof, the sunk cost fallacy, and the influence of reciprocity. This knowledge equips you to better navigate the complexities of human thought. Additionally, you've examined the dangers of envy, the overwhelming paradox of choice, the illusion of knowledge, and the significant effects of liking bias. Each of these cognitive errors can cloud our judgment and mislead us, but with awareness and understanding, you can steer clear of these mental traps. Keep in mind that cognitive errors are part of our evolutionary history. Being aware of your impact allows you to make more rational and informed choices in your personal life, career, and organizations. This awareness can help you avoid unnecessary problems and illogical thinking. Thank you for listening to this audiobook summary. We hope it has equipped you with the tools to think more clearly and improve your decision-making. For more insightful summaries, explore the other content on our channel, where we regularly upload free summaries of various books. Keep discovering and expanding your knowledge with us.